Alrighty, it's time for a review that's probably not going to gain me a lot of friends. We're going to be looking at Donkey Kong Country Returns, and actually it's going to be the 3DS version, but they're pretty much the same, so I'll get into that later. And there will be no gameplay with this video because, quite frankly, I'm done with this game. Before I start getting into the negative aspects of it, I do want to say first and foremost that it is a good game. So, don't get me wrong, it is a good game. So let's start off with the positive aspects. First of all, the music. The music borrows a lot from the original games on the Super Nintendo. There is also some original songs for the game, and I really don't remember too many of them, but they didn't get in the way. They weren't grating or anything, so music was done very well. And then we come to the graphics. Graphics look gorgeous. They're bright and colorful. It's hard to believe that they managed to fit this, onto here. The only real drawback to it is it's a little more pixelated on here, and it's 60 frames per second on here, 30 on here. But me personally, as long as it's 30 frames per second or more, I really don't notice. Next up, we have the level designs, and this is where things start going wrong a little bit. A lot of the level designs are really, really good. However, some of the secrets just drive me nuts. There are so many secrets hidden right at the beginning of the stage. And, while that might be cool, like the first 2 or 3 times you see it, after finding a secret right at the beginning of the level for the 15th time, it gets a little tiring. Not only that, some of the levels they created, like the minecart levels, I know a lot of people bitch about them, in this game and in the older games, but I enjoy all the minecart levels. One thing with this, though, is in the old games, if you had Diddy Kong with you, you'd get, 2 hits in the minecart. In this one, it doesn't matter if you have Diddy with you or not. 1 hit, that's it. And while I'm on the subject of Diddy, well, actually, before we get into that, I do want to talk about about the rocket barrel levels. These really, really frustrated me, mainly because the controls for the rocket barrels were so stupid. What you had to do is you press the A button, and that will, set your booster or whatever on, and it'll shoot Donkey Kong up, and then if you let go, he'll sink back down. And I just find it doesn't work that well, and it's just really, really awkward. And if you need to make like a fast movement, it's impossible, really, to make an accurate fast movement without overshooting it. There are some items you can buy, like a crash guard and stuff, that'll make you invincible for 1 hit or whatever. But yeah, the level design was for the most part good, but at times other times it was really bad and frustrating. And this game is insanely hard. What's weird though is, the older games, they were really hard, but they were manageable. Like, to beat the main game, it's not that hard, but if you want to get all the secrets and stuff, then it gets pretty challenging. But it never makes you want to throw your controller. This one does, and the way they deal with that is in Cranky Kong's shop you can buy a whole bunch of items like extra lives and crash guards and extra hearts and stuff. And if that's not enough for you, there's the super guide, so this silverback Donkey Kong can just play the level for you. And, we all want that from a game. We want the computer to play the game for us. So, yeah, not that good. And, while I'm on the subject, another difference between this one and the DS one, or 3DS one, is this one you have 2 hearts, and if you have Diddy Kong, you have 4. This one you have a new mode, which gives you 3 hearts, and then if you have Diddy, you have 6 hearts. Okay, now getting back to the Diddy Kong thing I was talking about earlier, in Donkey Kong Country 2, or any of the older games really, you had 2 different characters, and they controlled in 2 different ways. Like, Dixie Kong had her ponytails that she would twirl around, and that would let her float down. There was the one from Donkey Kong Country 3 that was bigger, so if you threw him, you would crack holes in the floor and stuff. Well, in this one, when you get Diddy Kong, you don't have the option to switch to him. Instead, he just latches onto your back, and you can float with the rocket pack he has attached to him. So, Diddy Kong is a power-up in this game. He's not a character, which is really disappointing because I really loved that feature of the older games that you had two different characters with two different abilities. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, with the Wii version here. Why can you not use this? This is so frustrating. They make you use the Wiimote and they force motion controls on you, which is a big reason why I got the 3DS version, because, it's pretty much a standard layout on this. But there's no option for this unless you mod your Wii. And that's really frustrating. And, I don't understand why a lot of these Nintendo platformers force you to use motion controls. Okay, and one thing that really, really frustrates me about this is the way the game controls. Now, in Donkey Kong Country 2, you move fast, it's very fluid, you can stop on a dime. In this one, not so much. Sometimes Donkey Kong moves like he's got a dump in his pants, and actually I don't think he's wearing any pants. So, just getting started to run, there's a whole animation you have to go through, and it's so slow. And if you want to change directions or anything, it takes forever to do that. And one thing that drove me nuts is when you run into walls in this game, you don't just stop. You actually do this little bounce back animation, which, again, it slows you down and just kind of messes up the flow of what, the old platformers had. There was just a nice rhythm to it. It was very easy to pick up and play, but it was very challenging. This one is very challenging, but not for the right reasons. Another thing that drives me nuts about this is the game tries really hard to kind of take you out of the action. There's just a lot of unnecessary animations and stuff. For instance, whenever you start a level, you don't just start standing there. He's got to come jumping onto the level and then, beat his chest. And it's, after the 50th time, just stop it. Just let me play the damn level. Another thing is when you die. Now, this game right here, Rayman Origins, great platformer, best platformer for the system in my opinion, even though it's not an exclusive. But when you die in this game, you go through the death animation and bam, a second later, you're at the checkpoint starting from where you left off. And that's it, it just puts you right back into the action. This one doesn't do that though. When you die, you come back to the level, but you're floating down on a balloon and you have to wait a second or two before you can hit the A button to jump off the balloon. Why? Maybe they think it's charming or something, but it's just annoying. And, same thing with New Super Mario Brothers Wii. When you die in this game, you go through the death animation, then you have to have Mario getting booted out of the level, spit back onto the world map, and then you have to select the level again. Again, why? So, yeah. I think I covered just about everything I wanted to talk about in this game. And like I said, it is a good game. But it is nothing compared to this. This is amazing. Donkey Kong Country 1 and 3 are also amazing. This you can definitely tell it was done by somebody different. And it's, it's a good game, but it's just not as good as these older ones. And I don't get why there's all the love for this. I mean, it's great that they're bringing it back, but they could have done so much better with this. It should control like the older games. You can update the graphics and stuff, you can add new gameplay features, but why change the controls so drastically? Why change the two character features so drastically? I have no problem with evolution, but it has to be done right. And in my opinion, this was not done right. So that was my ranty review of Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii and 3DS. I will probably get a ton of thumbs down for this video, but I don't care, because that's just the way I feel about it. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and stay bossum.